Good morning and welcome back to another episode of EA James, where I am all about games. Today, we're going to talk to something very near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk about the very first game series I ever started with, Pokemon. All the way back in 1998 when I was 5, my brother came home with a copy of Pokemon Blue for the Game Boy Color, and I was hooked. Or rather, I wanted to be hooked. I only ever got to play the first 2 gyms and then he would continue playing through. But after watching that, I knew that once I had a copy of my own, I would really, really love to collect, train, and become the very best Pokemon trainer myself. Today, we're actually going to talk about my top 10 favorite Pokemon, and the things that make them so special to me. Let's jump in. For number 10, let's start from the basics. The starters. Particularly, one of my favorite starters and the first starter I ever took all the way to the Elite Four. That was my Sceptile. His name was Sly, and he helped carry me through the game. As a very crafty 9-year-old, I didn't ever really think about what was the top competitive Pokemon or had the best type matchup. I just thought, wow, this is a cool lizard who has blades on his arms, and he eventually has a blade tail, and I just am enjoying having him in my party, and he's wrecking everything. And that Pokemon became my second Pokemon to ever hit level 100. As you'll see later, there's one other one that hit 100 first, and that game was a very memorable time for me. Number 9 is actually my favorite Pseudo-Legendary. A Pseudo-Legendary is a very powerful Pokemon with a base stat total of 600. And my very first Pseudo-Legendary that I had in my party was Salamence. Salamence's name was Rager. I don't know why its name was Rager, but its name was Rager. It was in one of my final teams that took me all the way through the Elite Four 75 times. Rager was fantastic, and although I was very confused as a child as to why it took to level 50 to get a powerful dragon, I always knew from it starting as a humble Bagon that it was going to be a special friend that I would carry with me through the entire portion. Now on to number 8. Number 8 is my favorite water-type Pokemon. This Pokemon is Lapras, who incidentally is also my only Gen 1 Pokemon on this list. Lapras somehow always ends up to make itself into my team on most playthroughs. Whereas in most new Pokemon games I try to use entirely unique Pokemon for that generation, whenever I do a second playthrough or in some occasions just because I want it, Lapras always ends up in my party. And Lapras always ends up being named Nessie. I know it's not very original, but that water-ice type has carried me through so many different adventures and steamrolled so many other Pokemon that it's not even funny. Now on to 7. Number 7 is Shiftry, the Grass Dark Tengu Pokemon. This fantastic Banjo fan leaf Pokemon was such an integral part of Generation 3 for me, and I think you might be seeing a trend here. Generation 3 was a huge generation for me, the first generation I ever caught every single Pokemon legitimately in the game, and one that has held my heart for so many different years. I love the original, I love the remake, and I definitely can say GBA Emerald is still my favorite way to play the game. In fact, I own a copy of it even today. Pokemon Emerald and Shiftry are what my Pokemon playthrough was. Between Sly, my Sceptile, Edge, my Shiftry, Nessie, my Lapras, and Rager, my Salamence, it was a fantastic time to be a Pokemon fan. On to number 6. Number 6 is the electric bug Pokemon Vikavolt. Although I didn't really love Generation 7 in Alola, I didn't really appreciate the new gym style with all the different totems and the different kahunas. It wasn't really for me. However, Vikavolt quickly became my favorite bug Pokemon. Vikavolt, the electric bug, has a sky-high special attack, and is so helpful in so many generations, especially in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, in the case of Ultra Necrozma. That Pokemon helped so many people get through what was otherwise a completely blindsided and brutal fight. I will always have fond memories of Vikavolt. Mine's name was Charge. On to number 5. Alright, with number 5, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of this group. We're getting into some of my all-time favorites that to this day I would even use on a team. Whether competitive or not, they have really stuck with me. On number 5, we have Aurorus, my favorite fossil Pokemon. Aurorus is an ice rock type which unfortunately is super weak to fighting, but it is beautiful. It's got a fantastic cry. It helped me so much through Generation 6, which ironically is probably my third favorite generation. I spent over 200 hours in that game just to get a shiny Aurorus. Glimmer, my Aurorus, helped carry me all the way through the Elite Four, helped me with so many different fairy types and dragon types that I just couldn't not have it on this game. And it's shiny with the reversed coloring, making it look Snow White. It's absolutely perfect. Now for number 4. Alright, now, Generation 4, which as of this point in time is probably one of my least favorite generations, holds my 4th favorite Pokemon, Luxray. This electric tiger is beautiful and powerful. It helped me through my entire Platinum playthrough, and my only real big complaint is why is this Pokemon not Electric Dark? To think that a Generation 8 electric mouse Pokemon named Morpeko beat it out makes me a little bit salty, but otherwise I love this Pokemon. With its strong attack stat, I just wish that its special attack was a little bit stronger, or that its move pool allowed it to have better physical electric moves. But Night Eye, my Luxray, will always be special to me. Now for number 3. Alright, on to the big 3. Number 3 is my favorite starter Pokemon of all time, Blaziken. Fox, my Blaziken, helped to burn through so many grass Pokemon and helped fill a void in the fire-neglected area of Hoenn. This Pokemon carried me all the way through the game, and I probably could have gone the entire game just enjoying my playthrough with this Pokemon. In the remake, the Mega Blaziken is so overpowered it got banned to Ubers for a while. These Pokemon are fantastic, and the fact that this fire Pokemon helped in an area where you could only have Camerupt as another viable option for the most part makes it a fantastic member of every team that you come through. For number 2, we're on to my favorite new Pokemon, who also is now my second favorite Pokemon of all time. It is the box starter for Generation 8, Pokemon Shield, Zamazenta. Zamazenta, especially in its Crowned King form, becomes a fighting steel type, and it is so powerful and so much fun to use, especially using its Behemoth Bat ability during different raid battles, helps to really cement in my mind that Ballast, my fantastic Zamazenta, is the way to go as far as fighting types are concerned for me. My only complaint is that you can't get it till post-game. Why can't I use this beautiful boy during my regular playthrough, especially when there's so little to do in the post-game? Otherwise, Zamazenta cinches the way through number 2, and I can't wait until the shiny variant is available. And last, but certainly not least, my favorite Pokemon of all time, Rayquaza, or Rayquaza, whichever way you prefer to pronounce it. Rayquaza helped me solo carry myself through the Hoenn Elite Four over 100 times. I literally would use this Pokemon down to 2 PP of its moves every single time because I knew that you could go all the way through every single time and have a great time. Rayquaza hit level 100 far before any of my other Pokemon, and I will always love this Pokemon because of that. And its Mega Form is fantastic. It doesn't even need a held item, so it becomes even more powerful and broken at that point in time. Rayquaza, you will always be my #1 favorite Pokemon. And not only that, I didn't even know what to name this Pokemon. So my level 100 Rayquaza was named Rayquaza. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you have some of the same on your top 10, or do you have others that are different? Otherwise, please have a fantastic evening, and take care.